Buenas noches, señorita, les habla Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria. En este momento les tengo noticias, una buena y una mala. La buena es que les tengo un negocio, la mala es que tienen que escoger ya la decisión. ¿Cuál es la decisión que deben tomar? Están invitadas este fin de semana a la Hacienda Nápoles, viáticos pagos para que disfruten de un plan, señoritas. Sí, señoras, todas van a gozar de mi presencia y van a estar conmigo disfrutando de un excelente plan muy acogedor y tomando unas copas de vino. La segunda opción es no ir, y si ustedes no llegan a ir, le mato a su mamá, a su papá, a su abuela, y si su abuela ya está muerta, la desentierro y se la vuelvo a matar. Así que ustedes toman esa decisión, espero en 45 minutos la respuesta. Muchísimas gracias, les habla Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria.
Plata o plomo.
It's heavy for the morning. I like it. Let's turn it down for longer. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much. I had so much fun last night. You have no idea. It was my most favourite live broadcast I've ever done. Don't know why, it just felt right. It just felt right. It did. I'm out again. You know? Here we go. Hey, good morning. I'm on the mobile cam. Set up for going around and doing the thing. Everything seems to be working alright. Sounds fine. Everything's fine. Which is tremendous. Tremendous. Right, let's just fade Mr. Bones out. I think we need to do that because I like my morning coffee intro, and I think it's important that we actually we do that, which will be good. Right, goodbye, Mr. Bones. Thank you for your amazing intro, but we need to do some Mojax Happy stuff. Yeah, let's do the Mojax Happy stuff. Hide there. Let's do the Mojax Happy stuff. Okay. Right, 1 sec. Right, that's good. I have to switch this mic off when I move to the mic on this cam, because otherwise you get all echoey stuff going on. I'm getting used to the technology. I'm getting to be reasonably professional. You like my opening? That's my favourite opening for all the shows that I do. I made that in about 5 minutes. I thought to myself, crap, I don't have an intro for the morning show, you know? So I just kind of filmed it all one after the other while I was actually making coffee, which I'm going to do right now. Take my medicine. Check this out. Oh, look. Oh, my children are still camped out, and my hair is a goddamn mess, and my glasses are broken. Yes, it's a disaster. They're going to fall off my head in a minute. Hold on. There we go. Right, let's get these things. I had them kind of fixed with a bit of tape yesterday, and they'll last for the show most of the time. There we go. Excellent. I am going to, I saw Twinkie there, and I'm going to photograph some of my daughter's drawings, right? And I'm going to put them on the Discord for you to look at, because some of her stuff's just remarkably funny. She'll just sit there. She draws like God knows about 2-3 hours a day. That's her thing. She loves to draw. And actually, I'll go get this one just now. Hold on. I'm making the coffee in the wrong order as well. She drew a picture of her dad sitting at the... That is me sitting at the computer with, as if the computer... No, it's actually me sitting on the Xbox playing SLENDERMAN Chapter 4, which I've not played yet, going, ah, because I'm terrified. She thought this was funny. She says, I've not done Chapter 4 yet. She says, yes, but you will do, and you'll be scared, Dad. Thanks, daughter. She's really good. Look at that. Look at my hair. I can't wait. Whoops. See, glasses falling off. Can't wait to get the hair done. That's why I wear beanies. Beanies. I've poured the water into the mug first. How can you make coffee the Rab way? If you make coffee by pouring the water in first. That's no good. It is no good. So, welcome to Thursday. Thursday's a good day. Well, it's not really, but it is Thursday today. The children go back to their mum, my 3 oldest, Paxton, Alia and Ruin. They all go back to their mamas about 2:30, and they don't come back till Monday morning 9 AM. It's just the way that we're doing things through the lockdown just now. And gives me an opportunity to go and do things. It's going to be a glorious weekend. It's my daughter's birthday on Saturday. She will be 12. Oh no, it's water. I've already put the milk in it. God, wake up. Right, yeah, so coffee the Rab way. For people that don't know, when I make jailhouse coffee, which is just any instant coffee whatsoever, it's the grains and then the milk, and you stir it till it all dissolves, and then pour in your water. Oh, I tell you, the first sip of something warm and wet gliding down my throat in the morning after a night of dryness is incredible. It's always remarkable. And for those of you who don't know, I'm going to tell the story once again. I tell it every couple of days because we always have somebody new in at some point. Coffee, making coffee the Rab way is an actual thing. It's a thing, because years ago, you're talking almost 20 years ago, when I had my own team building business, one of the guys at work there was a guy called Rab, and I made coffee for him. We were outdoors, but I made coffee for him, and he was like, after I made it, I was like, thanks, Mo, thanks. And I was like, tell you what, mate, I'll just make the coffee from now on. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I tried his coffee and I went, how come that tastes different? And he goes, there's a secret way to making it. So he showed me the secret way, and it's as simple as just basically making like your coffee mix with the milk first, then pouring your hot water over it. For some reason, it doesn't scorch the coffee grinds, because some people like that. If you pour like hot water over the coffee grinds, it gives it a more bitter taste apparently, and it's true. It's totally true. So that's coffee the Rab way. And if he usually comes in, there was one day when I was doing it. I'm doing coffee the Rab way, telling the story like this, and I go back through to the chat, and he watches on Facebook sometimes. But the first time he watched on Facebook, he popped up on the screen just after I'd done this, and I'm like, holy crap, it's Rab the coffee man. Fuck me. Oh, swearing in the morning. We don't do swearing in the morning. No, we don't. And yeah, then I have to take thyroxine every day. Another one of those. This was a side effect to experimental medication during my cancer treatment, and the experimental drugs attacked my own thyroid gland, and I digested it. It was delicious, and it gave me superpowers, you know. I'm not making porridge this morning again. I'll make porridge in the mornings when the kids are not here. Oh, that was good. Right, let's have a quick look at the chat before we move to the weather window. Good morning, Nyla. It's good to have you here. It always is. Aiko, we've said good morning to you, but I'll just say again, good morning, Aiko. Amazing. Knowledge is here. Knowledge. That's great. We'll have to have a wee chat about that thing that we were talking about briefly last night. Okay, which is important. And I'm sure that I saw Twinkie's bright coloured avatar. Yes, there we go. Yes, drawing is such an outlet. It's a good release. And Ali is very good at it. I've also got a couple of her pictures from when she was younger, just to show an evolution of stuff. But it's particularly funny, and I will show you those as well. But I'm not showing them live. I'll stick them on Discord, which is good. Excellent. Right, great. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. We're going to go and quickly look at the weather window, and we'll look at them. This is a non-monetized video, obviously. Not that I'm monetized, but my brother said don't put the kids on if you want the videos to be monetized, as YouTube will not monetize videos in the future if I'm not bothered about that. They're my kids. They're in no harm. They're unconscious. Where is it? There's Ruin, and that's Alia. That's Ruin, and that's Paxton. And they're all fast asleep. Oh. I have to stand over the top of Alia. Okay. Oh, listen, can you hear the birds? Oh my god, the air is remarkable this morning. Oh, that's amazing. Right, okay. For some reason again, the flippy part that used to be at the bottom of the bar on StreamYards on my phone is no longer there. I can go into the camera part, but then it goes a bit static, so we'll do it this way again. This is looking east where the sun comes up, and it looks okay. It really does look okay. And we'll pan all the way west. It's a bit overcast to the west, but it's alright. Yeah, it's okay. We look at the bushes now. We always look at the bushes to see if the bushes are all blowing in the wind, and if they are, we then look at the bigger bushes and then look up into the trees. But there is no wind. The wind, you can feel the air moving today in Edinburgh, but it's okay. And if you look down there, that is us vandalising our mutual path to our back garden the other day there. I'm going to have to clean all that off today though, because the neighbours are not best happy. I don't care. I'll take photographs of what I drew on see the steps down there. I don't know if you can, but I drew something on our steps, so when you look at the steps, it's there. But weather's good today, and the air is spectacular. I just want to sit here and do the show. Or sit in the garden. That would be nice too. Sit in the garden and do the show. Have a cup of coffee live from the garden, and then have somebody hit the intro button up here in the living room, and then run up the stairs and have that sort of seamless thing. And I've got like 30 seconds to get up the stairs and then be sitting down. That's me back in the studio now. Close the window. Try not to stand on your daughter. I'm not going to stand on her. Right. Okay. And we're down. Oh, we did it. Weather looks great today. It looks absolutely amazing. I've got to love it. I Scotland. It's good times and good weather. Right, let's have a quick transition moment. I should really wear my hat. Nah, it'll be alright. No hat this morning. See, this is a proper show. You even get to see my laundry. Laundry. Right, we're going to do the swap over thing. To this camera first. Then we mute this. Then we bring this one up, and we did it. Listen, this is one bit when all the sound deck works and the soundboard works okay. When I get this right, I feel, yes, I've beaten technology. Amazing. Let's have a quick look at the chit chat, see what everybody's saying. Yes, I have more pots and pans than that's my pot problem, Aiko. I've always had a seriously bad pot problem. I can't help it. I went to college to learn to be a chef. Cooking is my thing. I am an alchemist of flavour and texture. When it comes to food, there's no compromise on if I'm cooking something that I know that I need something. There's no compromise on ingredients whatsoever. It's something that needs to be done. And I teach my kids to cook as well. I've taught them all to cook over the years. Ruin will get taught a little bit more. I mean, when I say cook, when they're young, like 6, 7, and 8, it's like toast. But they've all sat with me when they were youngsters, chopping vegetables with a blunt knife. Like mushrooms. Paxton used to chop mushrooms for me. So they're all, quite open to trying new food, which is a good thing. And I feel that food is definitely an exceptionally important part of my life. And during my cancer year, before I had my treatment, the Dr. Mackenzie, the oncologist consultant for head and neck cancer, some lady said to me, right, this is what we expect to happen, Mo. I was like, okay. You will probably lose the ability to produce saliva by at least 50%. That is me only having one saliva gland. And you will also, you may lose a little bit of your hair, not too much. You'll lose weight because of this, but you'll also lose the ability to taste. What did you say, Dr. Mackenzie? I'm going to lose the ability. You sounded like you said I was going to lose the ability to taste. Yes, that's correct. Your ability to taste will be down to probably -0, -1. And I went, how can you have -1 taste? It says what you will be able to taste will be nothing, but things like water that don't have a taste will taste more metallic. And I'm like, wow. So for somebody that is an alchemist of flavor, to have the ability to create flavor removed from you is just add to stream. There we go. That's better. So they said that my ability to taste would be affected for at least 6 months after treatment. But I've always had a very trained palate, a palate where I could, tell you what herbs and what spices are in a particular dish, and then you've put too much paprika in that, you've put too much coriander in that, for my palate, because I've had my own restaurant, as well. So I used to cook professionally, and I swear I was devastated. But you're talking 3 weeks after treatment finished. 3 weeks. It only took 3 weeks. And I was making a salad dressing from memory, the quantities required. And I thought, I'm just going to try a bit of this. and I tried it, and it was like a nuclear explosion of flavor in my mouth. It was like, holy crap, you know. And I was like, wait a minute, that's my flavor. I can taste flavor. This is it. I went through every single jar of herbs and dried spices and things in my flavor cupboard, and it was, yes, I have a flavor cupboard, and it was just incredible. My wife came in, what are you doing? I says, I'm trying everything. Fingers in absolutely every nom, 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 nom. It was great. My taste had come back supercharged. It was like it had been on holiday to Krypton and come back with superpowers. I can now tell you what part of the pig the sausage comes from. It's crazy, crazy shit. But sometimes it can be overwhelming and exceptionally painful. I mean, really, truly, truly painful. Is that light a bit bright? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Hang on. That's a bit better. It's not as shiny now. That's good. So yeah, that's my story of taste buds and stuff. Hold on. My other taste buds, not my other saliva glands, not woken up properly yet. Right. We've made coffee. We've rambled a little bit, and we've looked out the window. We have mocked my children for sleeping and having a camp out with Dad. And I think we're ready to do some papers. How are you this morning? Did you sleep? If you've not been to bed, did you sleep well? I hope you did. I hope you did. I slept very well indeed. Okay, right, let's do the papers. Let's bring the papers up. Right, today I've had a brief look at them, and it's a mixture of stuff. And the most important things, again, is like Dominic Cumming kind of dominates the headlines. Again, this isn't going to go away for the Prime Minister. He's asked the country to stay at home, to remain in lockdown, to remain in quarantine. And his chief aide 8 weeks ago defies that, even though the chief aide is, mostly responsible for helping write this and to write the rules. But he flaunts them, and then he backs his chief aide up, while other aides, advisors, and politicians who defied lockdown rules fell on their sword because they knew it would undermine the credibility of everything to do with the lockdown. How can you say to anybody, stay at home, do the right thing, when your chief advisor flaunts that and takes the utter crap out of you? It's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Psychopath Mr. Cummings. Yeah, there's a video about that on my YouTube where he does an amazing tale called a duper's smirk after his conference, his press conference, where he's totally gaslighting the shit out of the nation. I mean, he really, really, really is. I watched it and I was astounded because I don't get affected by people like that. I see them for what they are, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, he is actually saying that shit. He's expecting us to feel sorry for him, that he's pretending to be a posh, sort of like bumbling fool. Wow. And then the cameras are still rolling, and he gets up and he finishes a bit of his drink and he walks over and he's like, like that. And I'm like, you wanker. You utter. And I don't think he realised that the cameras were still rolling. But I captured the footage. It's going to be on the internet forever as far as I'm concerned. So I did a wee bit of psychoanalysis, pulled some voiceovers from a podcast talking about Duper's Delight. I made a video around it. It's only 2 minutes long, and actually I meant to have a look to see how many times it has been viewed, because it had been viewed about 100 times before it hit 24 hours yesterday, which is great. Yeah, 110 times it's been viewed now. That's amazing. That is because it was done at a moment which was needed. That's my most popular video in the space of 24 hours, like a piece of content video. So that's great. I'm glad, I'm glad people have watched that, because it's interesting when you see the behaviours of people when they think that they're safe to act natural. Anyway, enough of that nonsense. Let's talk about the papers. Papers. There's the tab for papers, right? Okay, so newspaper headlines: test and trace revolution and MPs fume on Zoom. Okay, that's good. Public health undermined. Yeah, there we go. Public health undermined. Cabinet, I want to read this actually. Cabinet Office Minister says there are inconsistencies in Dominic Cummings' story. Yes. And apologises that apologizes that situation has undermined public health message. And it really has. I mean, how can you tell the nation to do one thing and then your best buddy advisor, how can you say to him, hey, this is fine, I'm going to back you up. You can go and do what you like. The row over the lockdown trip to County Durham. See, this is what he did. It wasn't even like going to the shops, right? He went from London to County Durham, which is about 263 miles exactly to where he was going. They say 260, that's not the point, but we'll call it 260 miles round trip, not round trip, one-way trip from London to County Durham to where his parents were, right? Because his wife had symptoms of coronavirus and he wanted to drop his kid off there to be looked after. That I get. That I would probably have done myself. All right? Just put it to the side. However, he then basically, God knows how many days later, decides, oh my God, my eyes are pretty bad from these symptoms that I'm having now. I'm going to have to go for a drive to test my vision before we drive back down to London. So he goes for a 60-mile round trip, 30 miles there, 30 miles back, to test his vision, to make sure he's safe to drive with his wife and child in the car. But he takes his wife and child in the car with him to test his vision. But I actually, I'm going for one of these eye tests where you drive and they can tell what prescription you need from driving. Yep, I believe that is now officially a thing. The mobile opticians in your car with your optometrist driving. Yeah, Mo, your eyesight's pretty good. You need glasses though. Yeah, absolute amazing. Ah, look, this is a mum meeting her family for the first time after lockdown. And then look at Mr. John there, our Prime Minister, zooming, fuming. PM sticks by Cummings as he's grilled by furious MPs. In a Zoom call with furious members of the House of Commons committee, Mr. Johnson was given a mauling. A mauling. That's a great word. He was mauled. He was mauled over Mr. Cummings' behaviour. Rawr. Obviously, he's got thick skin because he doesn't give a shit. It features a splash image of a woman being reunited with her family for the first time since March. Above the headline caption, they did lockdown, no exceptions, no excuses. Yes. Where does it say that? I can't find that one. No exceptions, no excuses. There we go. Yeah. No exceptions, no excuses. Too right. I mean, how on earth? You look at that, right? You look at it, and it's beyond a friggin' joke. It really, really, really is a ridiculous joke to consider that you, as an advisor, are exempt from this. But not only that, right? One of the rules of lockdown is you don't take kids and put them in the care of somebody that's over 70, and both his parents are over 70, all right? And what the fuck? Sorry, but really, it's beyond a joke. It's like, and the longer this goes on, the less credibility the Prime Minister has. It's beyond a joke. I don't get it. I don't get why anybody would, that works for the government would allow it to be undermined so much. Mr. Cummings, and I'm saying this politely as possible, you're undermining the government that you so very hard fought to put into power. You know, it's insane. It's insane. What a loser. It makes me very cross, Nyla. Yeah, thank you for putting the red angry faces up. It's beyond an absolute joke. And thank you as well for putting that little Wiktionary definition up of Duper's delight for people to look at. It's the whole thing. It's but the thing is, it's people are totally sucked into this coffee shop lifestyle thing. I'm gonna do a show about um the human condition where I'm going to criticize everybody, and I'm guilty of it, and everybody in the world is guilty of it at some point, because you have a tendency to not care too much about everything, which is fine. If you cared about everything, you wouldn't have your life would be bombarded with crap. But a lot of the time, the important things is this thing called NIMBY, not in my backyard. So if it's not happening right in your face, it doesn't exist. It doesn't matter. But in these circumstances, they do exist, and they do have a knock-on effect. But because of NIMBY, we have this hype, this sensationalism of, using Cummings as an example, of where there's this collective anger and disappointment, and the Prime Minister drops in the polls, but a week or so later, it fizzles out, and it's not happening in your backyard. So we don't care about it anymore, you know? And that's wrong. For things like this, we should care about them. And people do, like I will care about it. Some of you guys will care about it. But because we're conditioned into this coffee shop lifestyle where the media sells us dreams the same ways we talked about it last night, okay, it kind of drip feeds us instead of bombards us like the gurus. It drip feeds us a necessary sort of conditioning over time where we want to spend time not caring and accumulating stuff, not doing the right thing but ignoring it because it's easier, because we're too busy accumulating stuff. You get me? That's what it's all about, and that's what's going to happen to this. This will go away, and Dominic Cummings knows this. He knows that he gaslit the nation. He convinced some people because they're stupid, and we will move on. And yeah, it's so bad. It really is bad. Right. Okay. Tories defy PM to pile on pressure to Cummings, and quite rightly so. I think this is where it's not. That's the BBC host. And yeah, and then Hancock, our health secretary, says, do your civic duty over the test and trace app. We're going to come on to that in a minute, all right? The senior minister broke ranks to accuse Mr. Cummings of inconsistencies in his account of his decision to drive 260 miles to County Durham. The Guardian reports this. It says Penny Mordaunt's email to constituents was an intervention that has deepened the turmoil within the government. And it is absolutely true. Tories defy him to pile on pressure to Cummings, and quite rightly so. You have to hold your leader to account. If you're not holding your leader to account, then for the love of God, you know. Sorry, Barry's sending me messages. It's informal this morning. It might be interesting. Let's have a quick look. Right, that's about the 5G stuff we're looking at as well. That's cool. If you're not holding your leader to account, right, it's just a dictatorship. You know, it's just something that is there, and you know, he's not doing the right. He can do what he likes. I mean, technically, he can do what he likes anyway just now because of the majority that he has in the House of Commons. But you need to be able to say, Mr. Johnson, what you've done is wrong. But he doesn't care. He is a racist. You know, he is a xenophobe. He's not a good man. He's had children, and he can't even answer a simple question of how many kids do you have. You know, he's the man. If you want to look up the sort of things that Boris Johnson has said publicly over his political career and his journalistic career, just type in the things that Boris Johnson says into Google, or Boris Johnsonisms, or Boris Johnson letterbox dress, or something like that. Tank top wearing bum boys was how he refers to male homosexuals. Now, it was in a contextual story, but he still used it, you know? So how can a man like that actually be in power? Well, then you look at the American president, Mr. Donald Trump, and the things that he said. They're two peas in a pod. They're the two worst leaders in the whole world just now, including, I would put them, they're not as awfully persecuting as the great leader of North Korea. And the great leader of North Korea is a nasty, nasty, aggressive, horrible, we will, keep power and by instilling fear and shooting people sort of dictatorship. We have two dangerous men that think that they can say what the hell they like, and they're center stage for the world. Meanwhile, the rest of the world gets on with it and does the job. Crazy. Crazy. Enough ranting, Mo. Enough ranting. Let's move on. Oh, that's the wrong tab. Right, so yeah, the guys are putting pressure on the PM. That's good. This is my favourite picture. Look at Boris Johnson there. His hair's worse than mine, but his stylist does it like that. So he looks like a bumbling oaf, like a cuddly pantomime character. You want to go up and go, "Oh, Boris, the bad guy, he's behind you. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, no." Shut up. I mean, really, pantomime character and a half. That's them side by side. These are best buddies. Best buddies. Dominic Cumming, backed up by his bum chum. That's what we'll call them. They're bum chums. They're chumming each other's bummings. We like that. Government tells the public to do civic duty to curb virus, but PM still backs aide who broke rules. Right. This is the one that triggered me when I was looking at it earlier on. I swear to God, if you have the mother of all inconsistencies and double standards, it's like there is the biggest political do as I say, don't do as I do. Daddy knows best. Boris knows best. It doesn't matter what these guys have done. If somebody else has done it and they fall upon their sword, then yeah, that's okay. But with Dominic, he's the man. He's got the keys to the nation. He can do what he pleases. I need him. No. He didn't even friggin' apologise at his press conference for doing it. I mean, honestly. I'm troubled. Mr. Johnson, this voter is troubled. And you know straight up that I will never vote for you anyway. In a million years. You're a Tory wanker that has no credibility, and what limited thread-like credibility you were hanging on to by backing Dominic Cummings when other leaders within your leadership cabal have fallen on their swords because they did similar things, but not even as bad as that. They went round and had sex with their lover because they were needing it. That's what they did. There was one guy that basically was having an affair with somebody. It was one of the scientific officers. Okay, he broke the social distancing and lockdown rules and went away for a quickie with his mistress. Okay, he got busted for it. And he goes, yeah, fair dues. I'm a bit of a lad, and I needed a bit of rumpy pumpy, and it was great. By the way, it was superb. It was worth it. I'm still going to get paid for the jobs that I do, but I just, I'm going to follow my sword, because how can I say to you guys as a scientific advisor, you need to stay at home. This virus is shit. If I'm going around and basically doing the do with Mrs. Doo-Doo, it's yeah, I get it, and yeah. I'll sell my story to the newspapers later because she's hot as hell, and to be perfectly honest, she was a very attractive woman, and I can see why his little brain got the better of his big brain. You know, amazing. You have to be amazed. But in this case here, no, no falling on a sword. Maybe because he's not having sex. Maybe if it was something as mundane as having sex, instead of as mundane as traveling 260 miles, for what he felt was, an absolutely essential journey. And again, I'll go back to it. Would I have done something similar if I didn't have any childcare? Well, it's different from me. I'm not like the chief aide for one of the most powerful people in the world. Are you telling me there's not anybody that could have helped him in London? It makes no sense. And why travel there for an allegedly justifiable reason to leave your kid with people that were over 70, thus breaking lockdown rules twice? Insane. Insane. Right, rambly, ramble. Why don't you do your duty? No. No, I will not do my duty. Okay, why don't you? There we go, that's what that is. Why don't you do your duty, duty? Yes. Yeah, fall on your sword, you dick. God damn it. Okay. The front page of the Daily Mirror gives us the latest on the scandal that has outraged Britain. It says the government is telling the public to do their civic duty to follow the rules on a new test and trace programme. They will not be getting my phone app download for that in the slightest. Not a chance. While Mr. Johnson still refuses to fire his rogue aide. Wow, his rogue aide. That's a great way. It's not a rogue aide. He's just a dick. The paper quotes a Labour. He doesn't deserve such a cool title of a rogue aide. Mr. Cummings, you're just a fucking idiot. You know that. You really, really are. I'm sorry for swearing first thing in the morning if there's kids watching here, but I don't even, the potty's not here. That's what the problem is. I don't have potty mouth for me to stick my foot in that calms me down. But no, it's like, can you imagine, right? Okay, here, 30-second rant. I'm sorry. Can you imagine what would happen here, right? If it was the opposition, if the Labour Party was in power, or if Nicola Sturgeon had travelled 260 miles, they would be calling for blood. The nation would be calling for blood. But because it's Bumbling Bojo's best buddy, wow, that is a headline. Bumbling Bojo's best buddy gets off with it. Yeah, that's got to be a hash. Bumbling Bojo's best buddy. My brain works in remarkable ways. Bumbling Bojo's best buddy gets away with it because he is Bumbling Bojo's best buddy. It's just insane. It's insane. But if Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, was to do the same, they would be pitchforks and torches outside Bute House in Edinburgh going, "Arr, Miss Johnson, we are here to lynch you. How dare you? You put public health at risk. You undermine the whole government here. That's what it's. Arr, be the mob outside the house." But yeah, I have to say though, Dominic Cummings has had a mob outside his house in London. Just watch the videos of that on YouTube. That's hilarious. But not everybody feels the same way. And Nicola Sturgeon's done her fair share of nonsense as well. I believe that she went round to collect hair dye from her hairdresser, who leaves it in a box outside her house, or her hairdresser dropped it off outside her house. Now, this isn't an essential service under the lockdown rules, but hairdressers were given the go-ahead to do that in the country. And wow, I actually sent her an email saying, "You shouldn't have really done that, Nicola." And she sent one back saying, "Yeah, no more. Bit naughty." But I was a bit disappointed in her. But it's not like she's going 260 miles and infecting people. It's like with my kids, they stay between their mum and here. So they come out their mum's house, they go into my car, they come down here, they get out the car, they go in. All right. They are not anywhere of any danger. They're not doing any cross contamination. You know, it's just the way that it works. But it's a joke. It's truly a joke. If any Labour MP had done this, they'd be baying for blood. Okay. In fact, they did. There was the Scottish chief medical officer. She went to her holiday home twice in Fife during this crisis, but she turned around and resigned. She totally resigned and said, "Look, how can I tell you guys what to do when I've not done it myself?" You know, it's incredible. It is incredible. I don't get it. Undermine the nation. Crazy. Let's move on quickly. Daily Fail. Daily Rag. Mail Force Miracle, the sequel. Mail Force is the Daily Mail's charity that is providing lots of PPE to frontline medical services because the government cannot purchase it. We did a special on that, showing the government's incompetencies of managing the whole of this crisis. This was about 4 or 5 weeks ago on a Wednesday. I think it was a Wednesday, it might have been a Tuesday. But we did a special about that, and we just used PPE as an example of the lack of consistency and credibility that the government has had for doing this, which is insane. And it's also got the taste and trace revolution. Starting today, anyone in close contact with the COVID patient will be told to self-isolate for 14 days. That's amazing. So the question remains is, if that's the case and your phone says that and you're told to self-isolate, who's going to pay you? Is the government going to pay you? You know? They're not, are they? I didn't think so. No. No, that's why we're better doing the full lockdown until we're at a stage where the virus is totally manageable with the NHS and have like a phased return to work programme going on. But, you know, that's just sensible. The Daily Mail leads with the new NHS programme for being launched by the NHS. Oh, yes, we'll have to talk about that as well. Again, it says anyone who has contact with someone with the coronavirus must now self-isolate for 40 days under the headline Test and Trace Revolution. The paper says the programme will quickly shut down isolated outbreaks. And you know what? It probably will. But I genuinely do not trust the government's programme for this whatsoever. Basically because it was a friend of Dominic Cummings, this man here that I'm bringing up a picture of. There he is. Okay, this man here was actually awarded a multi-million-pound contract and access to all my NHS files and data and anybody else's data within the UK held by the NHS to produce this particular app. When they've tested it on, I think it was either the Isle of Man or the Isle of Wight, it had ridiculous inconsistencies for its ability to recognise other phones with people that have had or will have had symptoms of coronavirus. And so this guy here is a friend of Dominic Cummings. Okay, Dominic Cummings. You know, that same person that flaunts the rules. Would you trust a man who's pals with Dominic Cummings, all right? A man that is pals with Dominic Cummings with your data and the ability to create a functioning, well-versed, well-tuned app? No, you wouldn't, would you? I wouldn't. Okay. In Iceland, though, meanwhile, in Iceland, they said that's mandatory. You've got to do it. And you might think that that's a bit draconian, but the people over there trust their government. You've got to remember, Iceland was the country that put their bankers in jail during the big crash 11, 12 years ago, all right? They've said, no, it's your fault for buying that dodgy product. You should have known. Instead, you just wanted to make money at our expense. They did all the evidence gathering, had a fair trial, and they chucked all the bankers in jail. I think that the Icelandic government has a ridiculous amount of credibility with that, which is good. It's a good thing. It definitely is. The Daily Telegraph, public told they have a duty to test and trace. Fuck your duty. Fuck it. How dare you say that? How dare you say that we have a duty? That is our health minister that said that, Mr. Hancock. Nah, not unless, you know what, if we get rid of Cummings, maybe I'll do my duty, but right now I want to have a street party. I really do. I think that it's the wrong thing to do, but what are they going to do? What are they going to do? You know? I'm not sending the stormtroopers, send us home, fine us, I won't pay the fine. The precedent's been set by Dominic Cummings to travel around. Oh, but you know, he's allowed to do that, he's Dominic. Crazy. The test and trace programme could effectively replace lockdown. The Daily Telegraph postulates, in quotes, it quotes the Prime Minister as saying the new system would place a burden on a tiny minority of people, but could unlock the prison and free the rest of the population from restrictions. We get that, but it's one man against the nation for your credibility. So on the basis of what you're saying there, it's okay if we all do the duty and use this app. You know, it's only going to be a small amount of people that are going to be affected. So that's one man. That's Dominic Cummings. Okay, that's one man to fire, to hold your head up and say, I have credibility. You know what? If he does fire him, he's going to do it through gritted teeth, and it'll be along the lines of, you know, I've had to make the tough decision of firing one of the most incredible people. He's a remarkable man that works for me and has given me sound advice so many times. That's the Boris Johnson pointy finger, because politicians are not allowed to point fingers; they point a flat thumb. And Boris Johnson is my name, and Dominic Cummings is a friend of mine, and he's a colleague, and he's always given me remarkable advice, and other members throughout his career. And let's just face it, that Dominic Cummings, he had his reasons for going up there, justified, but I've had to bend to the will of the people to do this. So I'm sorry, Dominic, but you're fired. Oh, wait now, that's Donald Trump that does the firing. Crazy. Right. Let's get these papers finished. You guys have got a day to get on with. Daily Express, test and trace is the key to our freedom. Okay. Yep, we get that. The Times, what the hell? People in spacesuits? Is that what that is? I can't read the bit at the bottom. Anyway, do your duty and we can defeat the virus, Britain told Boris. Do your duty and sack Cummings. Sack the Cummings. Boris Johnson, sack Dominic Cummings. Damn it. And then the Financial Times. Now, for those that have are only visiting us for the first time, we like the Financial Times because the Financial Times newspaper is the same colour as, hang on, as my bookshelves. See, where am I? I'm here. Bookshelves, Financial Times colour. I like that. I have no idea what the paper is about, but I like the fact that it's the same colour as... Actually, I'm getting bored of it. You might have to change the colour. Don't tell my wife. Please. She'll go mental. No, you're not changing the colour. We just did that. Okay. Anyway, Johnson brushes aside Cummings' inquiry inquiry demands despite backlash. Shocking. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has shifted the blame for the government's failings in handling coronavirus to previous administrations. What? Let me just read that again. Did I read that right? Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has shifted the blame. It's not... Sorry, camera's still pointing over there. You don't see my face when it's pointing over there. Must remember that. And hold on, down a little bit. Tidy. Heidi. Did I need to go back to that? Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has shifted the blame. Wow. The Financial Times claims Boris Johnson admitted to MPs on Wednesday that the UK had not learned from previous pandemics, resulting in the current lack of sufficient testing. Yeah, do you know something, Boris? It's your party that's been in power for almost 11 years in this nation. Okay, so the previous administrations are actually your colleagues, your previous colleagues, and some of them are actually in your cabinet now. And in 2016, you did a pandemic mock test exercise thing, and everything that came to the conclusion for that is everything that has gone wrong here. So how dare you turn around and say it's not my fault, it's your fault? Wow, that is highly toxic behavior. Ooh, oh, no, fuck you. I don't give a shit about your beer. God damn it. Okay. Daily Star had a cutout mask yesterday of Dominic Cummings. I forgot to go and buy it. But look, they've got Stevie Wonder, a blind singer, okay, who is allegedly driving the car with a mask of Dominic Cummings. Driving tips with Stevie Wonder. That's almost offensive. You know, that's crazy. Ghost of Deirdre came to say ta-ra. Right. In the departure of coronavirus, the Daily Star leads on Coronation Street. Don't care about Coronation Street sitcoms. It's nonsense. The paper also pokes fun at Dominic Cummings' claims he drove during lockdown to test his eyesight with a section on driving tips from Stevie Wonder. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the papers, which is great. The papers are done. We can almost go back to a normal life now instead of me ranting about stuff. And let us, we'll bring up some music again to play in the background for, what's his name? Mr. Bones. Would you like to do that? Choose a tune from his SoundCloud list when it comes up. No, do you know something? I live daily through a lockdown where I don't venture much further than the end of my path, and if I can stick to the rules, or I can stick to the rules, how come one other man cannot? You know, it's I don't find it remotely positive that. That, you know, he's allowed to do that. I'm trying to find this. Where's this song? Is that? Am I actually looking at Mr. Bones? Yes, I'm looking at Mr. That doesn't look like Mr. Bones stuff. It is. Okay. There was a song I was using last night, which was really good. I don't want to play anything too heavy duty to finish with. There it is. I think this is the one. I could be wrong, but let's play it anyway. Have it in the background and we cue it up. There we go. We'll just keep it down nice and low. Yeah, so what you can hear in the background just now is Mr. Bones, and he is on tomorrow night. I'm going to be speaking to him today to tell him how to get on to the show, and I will make sure that the sound deck is done perfectly and we're ready to go with it, which is great. He's good. I like how he makes his own stuff. And he's not just a DJ, a man that spins the decks, which is a talent unto itself as well. He's good. And yeah, great. So listen, thank you for joining me today. It's been a good fun show. We're back tonight with the COVID Chronicles. I will be putting out the link to the panel as well, the usual panel. But if you guys have any interesting COVID-19 stories that you want to share with us, please come and join us. Just send me a message, either a PM through Discord, or if you're not on Discord, send a message through Instagram, which is www. No, it's not www for that one. Well, you can do. You can go to radioapocalypse.live/Instagram, and you can do the same /Discord to join the Discord. Okay, which is great. My phone's beeping at me again. Hold on it. it might be something I've forgotten if Barry's sending me a message. Hold on. Let's see. Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, here we go. Trump's going to sign an executive order. We will do these things tonight, Barry. We will do these wonderful articles about Donald Trump tonight, because that's all part of the news and the COVID stuff. So yeah, I'm going to put the little stream key out to my team, and we will see if anybody wants to come back and have a little chat with us. And like I say, if you guys want to do it, just get in touch on the Instagram or the Discord. I'm quite happy for anybody in tier 3. If they want to come on, they can come on. You don't have to come on and show your face. You can come into podcast mode, which looks like this. That is podcast mode, so you don't actually see the handsome face of yourself. And yeah, which is cool. So we're done. We are done. Thank you for joining us. We're going to leave you with outroing to our friend Mr. Bones, and keep on playing his tunes for a few minutes. And please set a reminder for tomorrow's show. It's a unique situation. We've never had live music on the show like this before, and I'm very, very excited. And it's going to be something I want to try and continue to do. It might not be every week, but yeah, I will. If anybody knows musicians that want to come on and play, ask them. Get them to get in touch as well. Love to have them. All right. You take care, guys, and remember tomorrow night it's Mr. Bones. And yeah, enjoy the music. Take care. Have a great day.
Don't try to stop me now. No, don't try to stop me now. In these Yes.